So, you want to learn how to paint. Well, using correct painting techniques will make your job go faster and your paint last longer. One thing to remember when getting ready to paint is that there's three parts to every paint job. One is a good applicator, another is a good can of paint, and the last is painting skills. Hopefully you have bought a high quality paint and applicator, so now we're going to help you with those painting skills. The first thing you do, no matter the quality of the roller cover, is to take it out of the package and give it a rub down. This makes sure that any loose lint left over from the manufacturing process is wiped off and doesn't end up in your paint. Next, you're going to wet your hand and rub the roller cover to get it damp. Now, you don't want to get it saturated, just damp. This is called priming the roller cover for paint. Now, before you start painting, you need to stir that can of paint, no matter if you just brought it home or it's been sitting for a week. I always like to use disposable tray liners. It makes your cleanup much faster. Now it's on to trimming the wall. In the olden days, you used to trim the entire room, then come back and paint. Now, if you do that with today's paints, you're going to end up with a problem we call hat banding. This is when the paint you have trimmed in dries before you come back and roll your paint into it. If you only trim about 6 foot ahead of where you're painting, you can maintain a wet edge and the two paint films will meld together and form a smooth, even coat of paint. The best way is to hold your brush flat and pull it across underneath the ceiling. You can then come back and push the paint up if you need to. This ensures that you get a more even coat and don't end up with a big glob of paint on the floor. Once you trim by the ceiling, make sure you trim next to your baseboard or any windows or doors. Now earlier, I showed you how to prime your roller cover for paint. Now it's time to prime that roller cover for your wall. First, load your roller cover with paint, then take a spare piece of cardboard and roll out the paint on it. You do that a couple times to prime that roller with paint. This does a couple things. First, it makes sure that if you got too much water on the cover earlier, that it comes out on the cardboard and not on your wall. Second, it makes sure that your first pass with the roller cover picks up and releases the same amount of paint as it does the 20th time you roll it on the wall. Now that you're trimmed, we are ready to paint. First thing you do is take and load your roller cover with paint, and you start at the top corner. Paint a large V in an area about 3 foot by 3 foot or so. You're painting a V so that you spread the full roller cover of paint across the surface. If you were to just start painting from one side to the other, you would have a thicker paint film on the one side versus the other side. That way the full roller cover of paint is spread more evenly across the area you are painting. Once you have your V, and then you fill in that surface. Then you go back, reload your roller cover, and get more paint. You come back up just under where you just finished painting and do the same thing. Now you keep doing that method all the way down the wall to the floor. Now you might think this is a lot of work, but I guarantee you, if you use this method, you're going to have a more even coat of paint, and you won't be having to come back and put a second coat on because your paint's going to be even and there's not going to be any highs and lows that require a second coat of paint. Now it's time to face the paint. Think of your roller cover as a fabric like carpet. Think about when you vacuum and go in one direction, it looks light, and when you go the opposite direction, it looks dark. Your roller cover lays down the paint in the direction you are rolling. If you roll in multiple directions, it will not all be a smooth paint film facing in the same direction. This is particularly worrisome when you use a semi-gloss paint and or you have a longer smooth wall. Now once you have finished and are at the bottom, load your roller cover up, starting at the top of the wall, roll in one continuous movement all the way to the bottom. Then move right next to where you just rolled and do the same thing. Do this until you've covered all of the area you have just painted. Now, we keep repeating this entire process around our room until it is completely painted. Remember to use these steps along with a high quality paint and applicator to get painting results that will last a long time and make your project go much faster.